Most people never get rich, not because they lack money, but because they never actually start. Starting always feels like Tuesday. Like being tired. Like I'll figure it out after this paycheck, and that paycheck never arrives calm enough to act on. The finish line for ready keeps relocating itself. Here's what nobody admits: the people who got wealthy didn't feel ready. They just stopped explaining the same excuse to themselves. That's the part every success story erases. Level 0. Nobody talks about level 0 because it doesn't look like anything. You have $0. Not low savings, not a small cushion, actually zero, sometimes negative, and the strange thing about level 0 is that it is not a financial state. It is a psychological one disguised as a financial one. The number on the screen says $0 and your brain reads that number as a verdict on who you are, not just what you have. This is the first fork in the road, and almost nobody notices they're standing on it. Two people can have the exact same $0 balance and walk away having learned two completely different lessons. One person looks at 0 and thinks, I am behind. I am late. Everyone else figured this out already and I didn't. The other looks at the same 0 and thinks, this is just the starting line, and starting lines don't have a feeling attached to them, they just have a direction. That sentence sounds like a platitude, but it is not a mindset trick. It is a measurable behavioral split, and almost every outcome that follows for the next 20 years traces back to which side of that fork someone lands on at the exact moment they have nothing. Most people getting rich from 0 did not start with a plan. They started with a refusal. A refusal to accept that 0 meant something permanent about them. This matters because 0 is loud. It interrupts you constantly. It shows up when the card declines, when the rent is due in 4 days and the paycheck lands in 6, when a friend posts a vacation and you do the math on what that costs and the math doesn't work for you. 0 is not a quiet background fact. It is an active, recurring event that asks you, multiple times a week, to explain yourself to yourself. Most people, understandably, respond to that pressure by narrowing. They stop looking at anything long-term because long-term planning feels insulting when you can't cover this week. This is rational. It is also, statistically, the exact mechanism that keeps 0 from ever becoming something else. The people who escape it are not smarter and are not braver in any dramatic sense. They simply stopped treating every appearance of 0 as new information about their worth, and started treating it as old information about their current position, which is a very different thing to carry. Level 1. The first dollar that isn't spent. This sounds small enough to be meaningless, and that's exactly why almost nobody pays attention to it. You get $40 from somewhere, a return, a side gig, a birthday, anything. The version of you that stays at 0 spends it immediately, not recklessly, just naturally, because $40 doesn't feel like money that changes anything, so why not let it dissolve into groceries or a bill that was already due anyway? The version of you that starts climbing does something almost invisible by comparison. They take some piece of it, even just $10, and they move it somewhere it won't be touched. Not because $10 is going to make them rich. It isn't. The amount is irrelevant. What's being built here is not a savings account. It's a behavior, a rehearsed motion of separating money that comes in from money that gets spent, and that motion, repeated, becomes a structure that didn't exist before. This is the part that gets skipped in almost every retelling of how people build wealth from nothing, because it's not dramatic enough to tell as a story. Nobody says, I got rich because I moved $10 somewhere it couldn't be touched. But functionally, that is the actual first event in nearly every case. The brain does not naturally protect money. It naturally responds to immediate pressure, and immediate pressure always wants the money now. Building any kind of asset, even a tiny one, requires overriding that pressure on a regular and unglamorous basis. People who don't do this are not failing at money. They are succeeding at responding to urgency, which is what the brain is built to do. The people who get out are not better at resisting urgency. They built a system that takes the decision out of the moment of urgency entirely, often something as mechanical as an automatic transfer that happens before the money is ever seen as spendable. The mechanism is boring. That is precisely why it works, and precisely why most people skip it looking for something more interesting to do instead. Level 2. The skill that isn't a job yet. At some point, almost every person who builds wealth from nothing develops a skill that exists slightly outside their main income. Not a hobby exactly, and not their job exactly. Something in between, learned in stolen hours, that nobody is paying them for yet. This could be anything. Writing, building things, understanding a piece of software better than most people around them, learning how a particular market actually functions instead of just participating in it passively. The defining feature of this level is not the skill itself. It's the decision to keep developing something with no immediate payoff attached to it, while still being financially stretched. This is counterintuitive, because every instinct at low income says, spend your limited time and energy only on things that produce money right now. And yet the people who escape zero consistently violate that instinct in a small, contained way. They carve out a corner of their week for something that doesn't pay yet, on a bet, often an unconscious one, that it eventually will. What's actually happening here is a kind of compounding that doesn't show up on any account statement. A skill practiced consistently for 2 years is categorically different from the same skill attempted for 2 weeks and abandoned because it didn't immediately produce income. Most people try, get no payoff within a reasonable window, and correctly conclude that this particular attempt isn't working, then stop. The ones who eventually monetize something are not the ones who picked a better skill. They're disproportionately the ones who happen to keep going past the point where most people quit, often for reasons that had nothing to do with strategy. Boredom, stubbornness, having nothing else to do with that hour. The strategic version of this story gets written after the fact. In the moment, it usually just looks like someone wasting time on something that isn't paying off yet, right up until, for a small percentage of people, it does. Level 3. The first real money decision. Eventually, a sum of money arrives that is large enough to actually matter. A few $1,000s, maybe from the skill finally landing a client, maybe from a tax return, maybe from selling something. This is the first moment where a real choice exists instead of a forced one. At zero, there is no decision to make. Every dollar has a destination before it arrives. But a few $1,000s creates room, and room is dangerous in a specific way, because the instinct after years of restriction is to release the pressure immediately. To buy something that finally feels like relief instead of survival. This is not a moral failing. It is an entirely human response to sustained scarcity. The people who end up wealthy are not immune to this impulse. Most of them feel it just as strongly as everyone else. What separates them is a single habit at this exact moment. They assign the money a job before they assign it a feeling. They decide what the money is for, debt, an investment, a buffer, before they let themselves decide how spending it might feel. That ordering, job before feeling, is almost the entire difference between this sum disappearing in a season and this sum becoming the seed of something larger. This is also the point where most attempts at wealth quietly die without anyone noticing they died, because nothing dramatic happens. There's no single bad decision to point to. There's just an accumulation of reasonable-sounding purchases that each made sense individually and collectively erased the opportunity. The people who don't fall into this don't have more willpower in some abstract sense. They usually have a rule decided in advance, before the money exists, about what a windfall is for. Deciding in the calm moment, not the excited one, is the actual skill being exercised here, and it's a skill almost nobody is taught, because nobody talks about money the way they talk about almost any other discipline. Level 4. The decision to be boring on purpose. Somewhere around this point, the version of someone that's going to build wealth starts looking, from the outside, slightly less interesting than their peers. While other people are upgrading their lifestyle in proportion to their improving income, the person climbing out of zero is doing something that looks almost regressive. Their car doesn't change. Their apartment doesn't change. Their income has gone up, sometimes considerably, and almost nothing visible about their life has moved with it. This is not frugality as a personality trait. It's a mechanical decision to keep the gap between income and spending wide enough that something can actually accumulate inside it. Lifestyle inflation is not a minor inefficiency. It is the single most reliable force that keeps people who are earning real money from ever building real wealth, because income rising and spending rising at the same rate produces the exact same financial position as never earning more at all, just with better-looking receipts. The discomfort here is social, not financial. Looking like you're not doing well, even when you are, is one of the more underrated costs people pay to build wealth from nothing, because the people around you are watching your income rise and quietly expecting your life to visibly change in response. When it doesn't, there are questions. Sometimes there's judgment. The people who push through this level are absorbing a kind of social cost that the people who spend immediately never have to pay, because spending immediately is legible to everyone around them in a way that an investment account is not. Nobody throws you a compliment for a brokerage statement they can't see. Level 5. the asset that works without you. At some point, the money that was being protected and the skill that was being developed start to merge into something that produces income on its own, separate from hours worked. This might be investments that have compounded long enough to generate real returns. It might be a small business or a side skill that has scaled past the point of trading time directly for money. The specific mechanism matters less than the structural shift it represents. Up until this level, every dollar earned required a corresponding hour spent. This is the first point where that link breaks, even partially. And once it breaks even slightly, the entire trajectory changes, because growth no longer depends entirely on how many hours a single person has available in a week, which is a hard ceiling everyone eventually hits regardless of effort. This is also the level where the original refusal from level 0 gets repaid, the decision years earlier to treat a $0 balance as a starting line instead of a verdict. The asset-producing income now exists because someone protected a small amount of money when protecting it felt pointless, and kept developing a skill when nobody was paying for it, and made a boring decision about a windfall when an exciting decision was available. None of those moments looked significant when they happened. None of them would have made an interesting scene in a movie about getting rich. But the entire structure being built right now sits directly on top of them, and that is the part almost nobody sees when they look at someone who appears to have built wealth quickly. They are not seeing speed. They are seeing the compressed result of years of unremarkable decisions finally becoming visible at once. Level 6. The point where money stops being personal and starts being structural. This level doesn't arrive with a single dramatic event. It arrives quietly, usually only noticed in hindsight, when someone realizes the asset from level 5 has grown large enough that it now requires decisions a regular paycheck never demanded. Where to hold it? How to protect it from taxes? Whether to reinvest it, diversify it, or let it sit. At 0, every financial decision was about survival. At level 6, the decisions are about stewardship, and stewardship is a completely different mental skill than the one that got someone here in the first place. The instincts that worked at every earlier level, restrict spending, protect small amounts, keep developing the skill, stay boring on purpose, start to become insufficient on their own. New instincts are required, and almost nobody arrives at this level already having them, because nothing about scarcity teaches you how to manage abundance. They are, in a real sense, opposite skill sets. This is also the level where outside attention starts to change the equation. People notice. Not loudly, not all at once, but enough that new pressures appear that didn't exist before, requests for loans, opinions about how the money should be spent, a quiet social recalibration where some relationships get easier and others get strained. The person at this level is still, in almost every functional way, the same person who once moved $10 somewhere it couldn't be touched, but the world around them stops treating them as that person, and the gap between how they see themselves and how they're now seen becomes its own quiet management problem, one that nobody warns you about because it doesn't look like a financial issue at all, even though it shapes financial decisions constantly. What actually separates people who hold onto this level from those who slide backward out of it is not the size of the asset. It's whether they keep applying the same unglamorous discipline that built it in the first place, now applied to something with real stakes attached. The job before feeling rule from level 3 doesn't disappear here. It gets harder to follow, because the amounts involved are large enough that emotion has more room to operate in. The boring decisions from level 4 don't stop mattering. They become more important, not less, because lifestyle inflation at this level doesn't just slow growth, it can actively erode an asset that took years to build. The entire climb from 0 was never a separate set of skills for each level. It was the same handful of unremarkable habits, applied with increasing stakes, by someone who never stopped treating each new number as a starting line instead of a finish line. That is why most people never get rich starting from 0, and a small number do. It was never about the size of the first dollar. It was about whether that dollar got treated as proof of failure or as the first rep in a pattern nobody was watching closely enough to call impressive yet.